It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 15th of January, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news, translated into English. Thousands of citizens gathered in Rečak, Kosovo to commemorate the 21st anniversary of the massacre committed by the Serbian army. It was an act of horror that raised international awareness of Serbia's crimes against the people of Kosovo. Near the Rečak Memorial, the president of Kosovo, Hasim Thaçi, paid tribute to the victims, accompanied by the president of Albania, Ilir Meta. Thaçi said that Kosovo still wants to continue investigating not only the Rečak massacre, but all crimes that occurred during the war. The president expressed dissatisfaction with international justice. International justice hasn't yet solved the cases of massacres in Kosovo. It has also silenced the rape of 20,000 women. Our journey is Euro-Atlantic. We must consolidate the state, the Kosovo's president said. Thaçi accused Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić of saying he has a similar mentality to Slobodan Milosevic in trying to deny crimes committed by Serbia in Rečak. It is a behavior of Slobodan Milosevic's mentality, but this behavior came as a result of the international silence on the Rečak massacre. It was a push and courage of the Serbian authorities to deny the crimes in the Rečak massacre, the president said. While the president Meta said the Rečak massacre showed that freedom and dignity always triumphed over genocide and human barbarism. This and other massacres in Kosovo with a concrete plan for ethnic cleansing have shown that human freedom and dignity always triumph over genocide and human barbarism. Today, the time is not only to remember, but also to insist that justice follows through to the end, he said. Meta commented that any attempt to deny this massacre and other massacres comes at the risk of recurring violence, and we must stand united towards European values, he said. In addition to the many citizens in Rečak, the head of the Vetëvendosje, Albin Kurti, and the acting Prime Minister, Ramush Haradinaj, also paid homage. The former head of the OSCE mission in Kosovo and the man who went public 21 years ago sounding the alarm about the Serbian crimes in Kosovo, Ambassador William Walker, said that Rečak symbolizes all that happened in Kosovo during the war. I'm very pleased that every year more people from Kosovo come to see what Rečak is and what it represents. I'm not happy about what happened there, but I am glad that more attention is being paid to this place because it represents what happened throughout Kosovo, he said. 25 unarmed Albanians were killed and massacred in Rečak 21 years ago, including a woman. At a meeting on January 17, 1999, with the Serbian government, Walker has declared a person non grata, giving him an ultimatum of 48 hours to leave Yugoslavia. The massacre sparked successive reactions from the international community that proposed a conference on Kosovo, which eventually resulted with NATO intervention. Any housing found uninhabitable following the November 26 earthquake last year will be the subject of the Tirana Prosecutor's Office investigation. The news was given by Tirana Prosecutor General Elisabeta Imeraj at a press conference together with the investigation team of the operation codenamed Earthquake. As of yesterday evening, 31 people were in handcuffs. 2 of them had been arrested this morning. Investigations have been extended to Vora, Kashar, and Farka, where there were more damaged houses will continue to Dajt, Kamza, and other administrative units. The offenses charged with the detainees are falsification of documents, unlawful construction, and abuse of office. The prosecution is thoroughly investigating all those buildings for which an expert opinion has found to be uninhabitable in order to bring those responsible to account. There are many in number, said General Prosecutor Elisabeta Imeraj. Investigations have been made in the Vora and Kashar and Farka areas, and the head of the Tirana Prosecutor's Office underlined that this investigation will extend to all buildings of Tirana that have been declared uninhabitable. The arrests were based evidence from a number of deficiencies noted in the documentation. First off, officials of the former municipalities have approved construction permits in violation of the law and in the absence of significant technical and legal documentation. There are also no seismological studies for a category of buildings over 7 floors high, which is required by law. There is also no technical opposition. The building completion minutes are missing. The carbine completion minutes are also missing. There are no acts of ascertainment held by the urban planning offices of the former FARC and Kashar municipalities. For legalized buildings, the act for their sustainability are missing. As to the legal and technical abusers of the entities and subcontractors, there are some violations on their part, and also there are shortcomings with the buildings colluding acts Regarding the houses built during communism, earthquake damage has come after the structure has been damaged to fit working environments. After about a year since the mandates were burned, politics yesterday agreed to an electoral reform, already with the Democratic Party's veto. A day after the development, the leader of the Democratic Party, Luzin Basha, said in a press release that this is the first step towards holding free and fair elections. Yesterday marks the first step for the successful completion of the process dictated by the Bundestag that will lead Albania towards free and fair parliamentary elections. Electoral reform will not be dictated by the government with votes in pseudo-positions bought with crime money. Election reform decisions will be taken by consensus between the two parties, the united opposition and the monist parliament, plus its crutches. Parliament will only formally notarize the political table agreements from which decisions will be reached by consensus. Basha took care to clarify that the seating of the parties did not come from the goodwill of the majority, but the international pressure. Here, he gave a special thanks to the German Bundestag, the German sister parties. Basha especially thanked the British ambassador in Tirana for his key role. The opposition leader implied that thanks to him, the majority accepted the three opposition demands for electoral reform. For those who criticized the opposition for the move, Basha said this was not done for their seats, as they burned their seats, but only for the return of the free vote. There is and will not be any compromise on the values with which this battle has started, and countless sacrifices have been made by our supporters, leaders, and ordinary citizens. Anyone who thinks otherwise is mistaken. Basha added that we will not tolerate any delay in the process of completion as agreed on March 15th of the electoral reform. To the disappointed, Basha had this message. Never in these 7 years have the opposition and allies' intentions been so clear and grouped that Albania will not miss the integration and development train. We have been clear and with black and white goals. Either we continue on the path of surrender or use all our power to give Albanians a European political, economic, and social reality. And former President Bujar Nishani accused from Shkodra Prime Minister Edi Rama of creating a monist state with a model of violence over institutions. He believes the majority clashes with the president deepened the political crisis. Government presidency clashes have deepened the political crisis in the country. Former head of state Bujar Nishani calls a model of the majority a violence against institutions, creating, according to him, a monist state. At this point, he calls for the popular movement, where citizens assume their responsibilities. Beyond the clashes and confrontations of institutions is the time and moment where Albanian society and Albanian citizens must take on their greater responsibilities and turn this into a nationwide movement. The majority accuses the judiciary of destroying the justice system. Citizens have realized that this is not about delaying the creation of the Constitutional Court or the Supreme Court. It is about a strategy and a platform to completely destroy the judiciary. Skeptical and charged, the former head of the state talks about SPAC and the creation of the National Bureau of Investigation. The opposition does not see any weakness now that it has lost all power, but Bujar Nishani says the situation is in deep crisis after the instruments for dialogue have been eliminated. However, sitting at the table for electoral reform dialogue is the first signal of a change of political discourse between the parties. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening. And be sure to join us again every Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.